NEC Hoops fans, we are back with week 4 of the NEC on the Run Hoops podcast on the NEC Overtime Pod. My name is Ron Ratner with the NEC, and I'm joined by Ryan Peters, who writes for the NEC on the NEC Overtime blog, and you can find him on X at Pioneer_Pride. Let's get right at it, Ryan. We had some sweeps last week, but I want to lead with a team. You know, I don't know if we were doing this podcast together. We probably were a few years ago. We had it happen with Merrimack. We did it with Stonehill last year. And now it's Moyne, 4-2. They've won 3 in a row, their first year in the NEC. They're really starting to roll now, and we're coming off the Kaiyem Cleary Saturday in their win over LIU. What are you seeing from this Moyne program? And realistically, as you go through, breaking down what they've done, how good can this team be?
Well, they have the star on the team in Kaiyem Cleary, and we're going to talk to him later in the podcast and go into detail about that monster 43-point effort, a career high for him, a program record for Moyne. But as a team, they got the star in Cleary. They have a bunch of KG veterans, guys like DePersia and Sutherland and McClure. I love the makeup of the team. And right now they have the best offensive efficiency in league play. They're best 3-point field goal percentage, best free throw percentage. They're taking 49% of their shots from three, and why not? When you're making 40% of those, that's a high efficiency play for Nate Champion. And they've already had 12 games this year where they've made at least 10 threes in a game, and they've gone 8-4 in those games, including 3-1 in NEC play. So this team offensively is just playing on a really high level. They're moving the ball well. I mentioned, Sutherland's playing really well. He's got, 16 points per game in their last 3 all wins. Isaiah Salter is starting to take a step up now. He had 16 points on 6 shots against St. Francis when they scored over 90 points. And then he had 7 assists to 1 turnover in that LIU win. So this team, forget just clearing his 43 points. This team is just playing at a high level on at various positions on this roster. And it's been impressive to watch.
Yeah, they're ranked 9th in the nation right now in made threes per game. So is there a recent NEC comparison? Is there a team that we can compare them to with this level of shooting we're seeing right now?
That's a really good
I
question.
don't
I
know.
mean, as a Sacred Heart alum, I go back. This is going 15 years back when Dave Bike, had those really productive teams from 2006 to 2008. He had guys like Ryan Litkey and Luke Coronado and Chauncey Hardy and those guys. They could fill it up from deep without a doubt. But recently, that's a tough one. Those Rob Krimmel St. Francis teams, from 2017 to 2020, they had some shooters. And so they like to shoot it from three. I don't know if they were making 40% of their threes, but they were certainly filling up from deep. I don't know if you have any teams that.
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know if we've seen somebody at this level of efficiency and number of makes they're making at the same time. So like we've had teams that shoot a lot of threes, but they're doing it at a very high rate. I don't know. That might be another podcast. Hey, by the way, let's shout out Isaiah Salter scored his 1,000th point on Saturday, in the win over LIU. So great job by Isaiah. Nice career milestone for him. We'll talk a little, as you said, we'll talk with Kaiyem Cleary and we'll kind of get into what's coming up next for Moyne. But let's transition now to Central Connecticut. Now, this team is off to, I cover it in this week's NEC release. It's one of their best ever starts. They're 6-1. They come off yet another sweep this weekend. And, first place at this point, Pat Sellers now in just his 3rd year. He's completely turned this program around. This team is going to be a tough out in March. Like they do it on both ends of the floor. Their efficiency, both offensively and defensively in league play, is near the top. What are you seeing right now from them?
The thing that impresses me most with the Blue Devils is they're now learning how to win close games. They were down 6 late against Wagner. A really, great job by Copeland's group. He only had 6 players in that game, but they almost pulled off that monster upset in New Britain. But Central Connecticut, that was a game they were going to lose last year. But this year they figured out a way to win it. They got hot they stretch the game into overtime, and then Kellen Amos hits that really clutch three off the left wing to give them that lead for good. And so the fact they win that game, and then they take care of business against FDU. Quite frankly, that game was never in doubt in the second half. That's just a really impressive performance at the Rothman Center for Pat Sellers' group. And I'm just so impressed by, like I said, they could win close games now, and they could win a number of different ways. If they're struggling, shooting the ball or defensively, they have a number of veterans who could do different things for them. They could figure things out. They're great in transition now, so they could score. They could get up the floor and score. And when you have guys like Gene Rose and Jordan Jones and Kellen Amos, there's just a lot of star power in this team. They got three of the top 8 at the very least players in this league, and that's going to go a long way towards their stretch run.
This Saturday, they play a Merrimack team that is also coming off a sweep. Let's talk a little bit about Merrimack, and then let's get back to that game itself coming up, which is a huge game for standings purposes. Merrimack is back doing what they do best. They are locking teams down. You're Mr. Analytics. I'm gonna throw some stuff at you right here. A few things. 49 points a game over their last 3 games. Effective field goal percentage just over 40%. 0.75 points per possession over the last 3 games. I mean, this is like Javaris Hayes level team stuff we're seeing here from them. Can this Merrimack team, if they are getting enough offense, how hard is this team going to be to beat?
They're actually playing the best defensive basketball in their Northeast Conference history this year, believe it or not. They're actually playing at a higher defensive efficiency than they did in 2019-20 with Javaris Hayes leading that team. They're actually playing better than they did last year with Jordan Minor and Ziggy Reed and Javon Bennett leading that defense. They're just 49 turnovers the last 3 games. They scored 51 points off those miscues. And so it's just the zone is just playing at an incredibly high level. I was there for the Merrimack Wagner broadcast in that second half where they outscored the Seahawks 39-21. That was as dominant a second half as you're going to see in the Northeast Conference this year. Wagner just had no answers for that zone. The hands were very active on defense. They got a ton of deflections. And then, Jordan Durkat got going and Bud Clark got going, that's just a lethal combination. If this offense can just be in the middle of the pack in terms of their efficiency, they're one of the best, if not the best team in the league. Obviously, Central Connecticut has a lot to say right now about that, and they're leading in the standings by half a game. But these Merrimack is very much a factor in terms of winning the championship and trying to defend their crown.
I thought Bud Clark was absolutely incredible on Saturday in his 30-point game against SFU. Just absolutely saucing people off the dribble. And now he had a couple of threes, like playground stuff, and he was getting into the lane and doing his thing. Like that, how both offensively and defensively can you assess his impact on the team this year?
I mean, Bud Clark, you talk about the 30 points on Saturday. He had a 15-point effort at Wagner where he had about 4 or 5 tough mid-range jumpers that he made over that Wagner defense that were just so impressive. It's like playground basketball. And, the analytics say don't take those shots, but when you have guys who can make those shots, like, Joey Riley's good at the mid-range game. He's a little bit different. He'll tap closeouts and, take a step or two in and hit a jumper. Bud Clark will take you one-on-one off the dribble, pull up on you, and then make it over the top of your outstretched hand. So that's just such a unique skill to have in this day and age in college basketball. When you have that weapon, a guy who could go in isolation late in the shot clock, get a bucket for you like he can, and he's a freshman, that's just so impressive. And then, his steal rate's very high, so he's obviously having a big impact at the top of that Merrimack zone. He's been the perfect freshman addition for Joey Gallo this year.
So would it be safe to say that this Merrimack Central game on Saturday is one of the biggest games remaining on the NEC schedule this year, and potentially one that, who knows, could decide the number 1 seed down the line? We'll see how things go. Central won the first game 75-70 up in New Britain a couple weeks ago. Now we go to North Andover. What are you feeling on this one right here?
I mean, Merrimack has to win this game if they want to have a chance to get that 1 seed, because if Central wins the game and they have the tiebreaker, the regular season tiebreaker, the sweep on Merrimack. If they finish with a tied record at the end of the year, presumably no one else is there at the same record. They're going to have that tiebreaker be the number one seed. So I think it's a bigger game for Merrimack in that respect. They have to win and kind of hold serve at home. Because if Central Connecticut could figure out a way to win this game, they're in great shape moving forward. But yeah, it's interesting that first game, Gene Rose went off with 24 points. He took a lot of shots, but he was very active in that game. He was moving around a lot. He was trying to, shoot some mid-range jumpers in between that zone. That Merrimack zone has to know where Gene Rose is at all times. And, Merrimack, what they do really effectively is they get back in their transition defense. They got to do the same thing because this Central Connecticut team led by Jordan Jones and how quick he can get from point A to point B at 94 feet. They got to make sure that they get their guys back and don't give up any easy buckets in the open floor against Central Connecticut because, if they get going in transition, they're very tough to beat.
Yep. So both these teams will again have to play what they're now a red hot Moyne team down the line. But as we mentioned earlier, let's kick it over to our interview with Kaiyem Cleary, who said some pretty interesting things. It was a pretty insightful interview, I thought. So let's head to that now. On this week's NEC on the Run interview, we bring in Kaiyem Cleary from Moyne. Welcome, Kai, to NEC on the Run podcast.
Thank you. Thank you.
Kai, you're coming off just an unbelievable effort on Saturday in your win over LIU, 43 points, just incredible. We were talking that, you kind of reminded us with all the things you were doing out there, a little Kevin Durant action coming in on Saturday. You got some contested shots, some long threes, you had an alley-oop dunk. So you kind of doing it all. Like, were you feeling it during this game? Like, how soon did you know that this was going to be your day?
I mean, it took me a while to get started. I missed my first three shots, honestly, so I had a little bit of a slow start. But once I have the character, like once I see one go in, I can get hot pretty quick. So once I made like two threes and I kind of got it going, and I had a lot of like good looks. My teammates were, getting me a lot of good looks, and I had like 18 at halftime. And I was like, okay, let me just keep stay in rhythm. I wasn't really thinking about how many I could score. I just really was just trying to stay in rhythm. What I mean? As a scorer, that's kind of what you wanna find the flow of the game. You know what I mean? And when you see a couple shots go down, it helps for sure.
When you're cooking like that, do your teammates, are they trying to get you the ball? Are they recognizing that like this is going to be a special day here?
Honestly, it's our offense. I give big credit to our offense. It works perfectly for a lot of our guys' playing style. We kind of just play. We just kind of flow with the ball. There wasn't really no, get Kai the ball. It wasn't like that. I feel like I was just in the right spots at the right times, and just kind of what I do. In general, but a lot more shots I was hitting a lot more shots and kind of staying aggressive throughout the course. So yeah, I just give a big credit to my teammates for finding me, and it's just our offense. It's really hard to guard when we move the ball so much, and there's a lot of actions going on, and it kind of just fits my playing style almost perfectly, honestly.
So one of the things I was thinking about was you scored 43 points. So you destroyed your previous career high, but you also made history at Moyne.
Yeah.
This was a record I saw that has stood since 1954-55 season. How does it feel to you to be part of something that has been in that book for so long? And now it's your name's in the book.
It took a while for it to sink in, honestly. I didn't really. Over the weekend, I had a day off yesterday. Over the weekend when I was speaking to my peoples and stuff, that was kind of when they emphasized to me, like, it was a big accomplishment what you just did, because, we're hard on ourselves sometimes, so we don't really, give credit to ourselves for what we did. But my peoples back home were really saying, like, you should be proud of yourself for what you just done. So yeah, it really only just sunk in. But yeah, I'm proud. It's definitely a good accomplishment.
Kai, it's been quite the basketball journey for you. You're from England. You played for Great Britain's FIBA 20U team. You went to Florida, played for Florida Southern and Florida Southwest State. near Fort Myers, you went to Ball State, and then you transferred to Moyne. So you've been pretty much everywhere on the map, it seems like. I'm just curious, someone with your athletic profile, I'm sure you had plenty of interest this offseason when you're looking to transfer from Ball State. Why did you choose Moyne and Coach Champion's program for your final year of eligibility?
So I don't know if you guys know, but Coach Champ was the guy that initially recruited me when I was coming out of prep school. So I was coming out of prep school. I didn't really have any offers. I was sending emails to schools like, "Hey, I'm this kid from England. I just need a chance." And Coach Champ, he was an assistant coach at Florida Southern at the time. He called me back and said, "Hey, I've seen your tape. We're interested. We'd like to get you on a visit." And they offered me there. So, Coach Champ's a big part of it, and Ben Morello too, my assistant coach, because my freshman year, like I said, Coach Champ was with me that whole year as an assistant coach, working me out, developing me as a player. And Ben Morello, my assistant coach, was my teammate too. So, you know, 5 years later, just skipping back 5 years later, when they called me and said, we would want you here, you fit the program. It was almost like a no-brainer to me. He said, let's make your last year your best year. Let's go do some special things as a team. We're going D1. You have a really good chance to, do well in the NEC. And they knew what I could do. They knew my talent. They've seen me play, of course. So it was a no-brainer for me. And just to be around, a group of people that I was comfortable with, like I said, the coach and also my ex-teammate being my assistant coach, it was a perfect situation for me. After everything I've been through, I knew I could come to Moyne and just focus down, just knuckle down my last year and have the best year and, feel at home, feel somewhat like I was at home because of the people I knew and the people I would be around. So it was a no-brainer for me to come to Moyne.
Yeah, how much of Moyne's entry into Division One into the Northeast Conference was a factor towards that decision for you to come to Coach Champion?
Honestly, it wasn't really a factor because when he first called me, he didn't tell me initially. It was later on. He said, we might be moving to D1 in the NEC, but they were still D2 at the time. And honestly, my mindset was, initially I was still trying to stay D1, but I said, you know what, like I just want to go have fun my last year. I want to go, and I want to end it with a bang. I want to play the best basketball for my last year. So for the next season, I'm confident. I've just had a good season. So I wasn't really, too fussed about like, okay, let me stay D1. Let me continue to do the D1 route. I was okay with us staying D2 and just going and, just enjoying playing basketball, doing the thing that I love. And then it just worked out that way. So it was, everything worked out perfectly. You couldn't have written it better, you know what I mean? So yeah.
That's amazing. Love to hear that. That's a great story. So I got a chance to see you and your teammates play up in person the previous week. I was up at the St. Francis game when you guys went crazy and hit all those threes. It was really fun to watch. You could really see that your offense is clicking right now. You're leading the league in offensive efficiency at this time. You, of course, you're leading the league in scoring in NEC play. From your perspective, you mentioned that the style that Coach Champion employed is good for you. What is it about that scheme that makes it a good fit for you?
It's not scripted. We came early and started. He explained how he wanted the offense to be, and it's almost he lets us play, and there's a structure, and then it allows us as players to almost freestyle within that structure. So there's always going to be a structure. So then if we don't have nothing on the fast break, we can get into the flow of our offense. And the type of players we have, it works perfectly. And obviously at times there's still we still have to figure it out because, like I said, we're kind of going off each other. You know what I mean? We're really trying to find the flow. It's not like, hey, do this, we're doing this, call a play, say. It's not. It's all right, pass. It's read and react. You know what I mean? And me coming from Europe, kind of having that. That's how we play. You know what I mean? You know the European game. That's how we play. So that's almost ingrained in me. I add my athleticism and my shooting to it, it just works perfectly for me personally. But also the guys that we have on the team, we have threats. We have so many threats. Like so once we get the ball moving, it's anybody's night, honestly.
Ron mentioned earlier that your 43-point effort, you kind of look like Kevin Durant out there. So I'm curious, is there an NBA player like Durant that you like to model your game after?
Kobe. When I first picked up a ball, and I started playing young, because basketball is not really big in England. So Kobe was, big at the time. He was only really showing Kobe. He was like the star. So when I started, I was watching a lot of Kobe. Went going to the park and doing the leg kick. That's where I get the leg kick from. All coaches try to tell me to take the leg kick out, but you know, something that's just came from watching Kobe, watching Jordan. You know what I mean? So yeah, Kobe was definitely my favorite player. My favorite player to watch.
That was actually my next question, Kai. I was going to ask you about your 3-point shot because of the uniqueness of it, because you're kicking out that right leg as you're finishing your shooting stroke. So I was curious about the origins of it, but this does sound like it was Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, definitely. I literally wanted. I would go to the park and literally just do his jump shot, kicking the leg, doing the fadeaways. That was just that's where I found the beauty in basketball initially. Just going to the park, freestyling, being free. So yeah, he just came, and I can't get rid of it. You know what I mean? No matter how many coaches tell me to stop fading or kick my leg, it's ingrained in me. It's a part of me.
Yeah, and so you
It
bring
looks
a
so
lot
good
of
on
length.
highlights, though.
Hmm?
Sorry, Ryan. I was just gonna say it looks so good on the highlights, though, when he kicks that leg out. Looks amazing.
Yeah, there's nothing like it. So Kai, you bring a lot of length and athleticism to your game as a guard wing, and obviously you're having a great fifth year now in college. I'm just curious, what are your plans? What are your aspirations when you graduate from Moyne?
Definitely to play professional at the highest level. Wherever I can get paid and still play my game and compete. So I've definitely got aspiration to play pro. It's always been on the board as soon as I started playing. I wanted to play professionally, and I still want to play at the highest levels. I still want to play against the best, whether it be NBA, G League, top league overseas. You know, um, but where I can just really continue to play the game I love. I feel like that's the most important thing. I've bounced around a lot. I've been in a lot of different environments, a lot of different places, and I play the best basketball when I'm having fun, when I'm doing what I love and I'm flowing, I'm in rhythm. So, definitely playing professional basketball, where I can still, go out and do my thing for sure.
It's a great perspective. So let's talk about your team for a minute here. Moyne, you guys are on a roll now. You've won 3 in a row, 4-2 in the conference, near the top of the standings. Moving forward, you got a 4-game road trip coming up. You got some tough games, Wagner, Sacred Heart. What do the Dolphins need to do to continue this run and stay and keep challenging to be at the top of the league?
Keep doing what we're doing right now. We're not looking ahead of ourselves. We know we're a constant underdog, which we love. I feel like we've embraced that. But yeah, just take it one game at a time. I feel like the coaching staff do a great job at, preparing us each day for the next step. You know what I mean? Because we don't, like I said, we don't look at anybody else but the next opponent. And our practices are breaking down, how we're going to get these wins. You know what I mean? What we're going to do to the team, where's weaknesses, where our strengths, and we immediately just get right to it. How are we going to win this game? So, just taking it every practice at a time. It's that time of the year where, we're getting to that point. But yeah, so we just got to stay focused, come to practice every day and really just own in on, trying to get these wins, trying to rack up these wins and keep this thing rolling.
Last question, Kai. I look at your team and there's a lot of experience on this team. Some of it is guys that have gone up through D2. Others, you have a lot of grad transfers that have played at the D1 level. When I see your team with all that experience, how does that help you? Like when you played at Central Connecticut, that was a tough game against one of the NEC's best teams. You
Mhm.
took their punches, and then in the end, you were able to win that game on the road. That's a great win. How much does that experience and what you have all gone through, either together or even separately, your previous stops, how does that help you as a team when you have those tight games?
I feel like the first thing that comes to mind when you just say like the experiences are our composure. Um, I feel like that experience helps with that. So, we've been down, Merrimack was down 20, but we stayed composed and we just figured it out. We never crumbled, and we ended up losing by 6 or something, bringing it back. It was so even the tight games when we're away, the big games that we've played when we've played the D1 teams, the experience from all of our guys, it helps with us staying composed, during pressured moments, during the big moments, we kind of just we figure it out. None of us panic, none of us make, crazy decisions. You know what I mean? We don't have those like freshman mistakes where, we're throwing away the ball, we're playing hectic. So I definitely just say it gives us that composure. It gives us that, ability just to stay calm and stick through the process, regardless if we're up 20, down 20, we stay tight. We're a unit, So I definitely feel like the experience helps us there for sure.
Well, there it goes. You heard from Kaiyem Cleary. Moyne is at 4-2 in the standings. Top three in the league right now. Kai, good luck the rest of the year. I'm sure we'll bump into each other along the way, and good luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
I want to thank Kaiyem Cleary for joining us this week. Ryan, pretty impressive interview. Certainly his perspective is something that you don't always see from student athletes. He's been through it all, and he seems really content and happy being at Moyne right now and being part of what Moyne is building here in the NEC.
Yeah, the thing that I took away from that is he was all about his fit, right? The right fit in his final year of eligibility. And the fact that he didn't even care if Moyne was Division II, and he didn't even know when, Coach Champion had reached out to him this offseason that Moyne was going to go to Division I. If they stayed 2, he probably would have went to Moyne anyway, because he was all about his fit, all about having fun, playing in the right system that kind of maximizes and optimizes his talent. So credit to Kaiyem Cleary. He's wise beyond his years. I think he's gonna have a really productive pro career, overseas at some point when it's all said and done. But that was a really insightful interview from him.
This week in NEC TV, we have LIU hosting St. Francis U in Brooklyn. The game will air on ESPN Plus. And for the first time this season, we will have a game airing on Sportsnet Pittsburgh. Ryan, we have 2 different teams here. We have a St. Francis University team that started 5 freshmen for the first time in program history on Saturday. The only team in the nation this year actually to start 5 freshmen. We have an LIU team that's played pretty well at home. They're coming off a buzzer-beating Ty Strickland 3 to win last Thursday. What do you envision from this matchup?
It's a must-win for LIU. LIU, they have to continue to win at home and kind of keep pace with the middle tier of this league. And as you alluded to, they're playing well at home. I'm really curious how St. Francis is going to slow down Ty Strickland. You mentioned the buzzer beater against Stonehill, but he also, in the loss against Moyne, had 34 points on 23 shots. He really just had it rolling. Eric Ackers played well the last couple of games. So the St. Francis team, they're young, but they're dangerous. Eli Wilborn's got 5 straight in double figures, had a double-double last game, I believe 19 and 16. So just a lot of great young freshmen in this game. It's going to be, I think, kind of an up and down battle. LIU likes to push the tempo. St. Francis is certainly not scared of running up and down the floor. So I think we're going to see kind of a track meet here, and maybe the first one, the 80 wins.
Along with our ESPN Plus and Sportsnet Pittsburgh game on Saturday, you can watch all the NEC action this week on NEC Front Row and on the NEC On the Run series of streaming apps. And that's a wrap for this week's NEC On the Run podcast. We will be back next week. Ryan, thanks for joining as always.
My pleasure.
All right, we'll see you next week on NEC On the Run.